morning, wrestling fans. Today is Friday, December 29th, 2023. Lance Brack here, back with another episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. I hope everyone is having a great Friday night or Friday morning so far. I'm a little off. I meant to say Friday morning. Hope everyone is having a great Friday morning as we get ready for once again another pretty big pro wrestling weekend. Just a reminder, tonight SmackDown is on, but not a new episode. It is the absolute best of 2023, I believe, and AEW Rampage as well. And last night was the second part of the Best of Impact Wrestling on Access TV, which was hosted by Tom Hannafin and the Drama King, Matthew Rehwoldt. So nothing really to talk about there, just the best of show as we get ready for tomorrow night's AEW World's End on pay-per-view. And I think since I took another day or two off from the podcast, I might try to do an episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic tonight, talking about Rampage, since SmackDown is the best of 2023 and nothing really to talk about there. But also, at this time, I actually do have a big favor to ask from all of the 360 Wrestling podcast listeners, and that favor is, if there is anyone listening to Good Morning Wrestling Fans right now, of course, here in the Detroit area, if there is anyone listening who attended the WWE Holiday Tour house show here Wednesday night. And yes, I have read the results from the show. I remember Wednesday night, not only was I watching Dynamite, but I was also following along on Twitter, on Instagram, and everything, while people were posting pictures and the results and everything to keep up with what was going on, since unfortunately I was not able to attend. But the favor I was going to ask of all the 360 Wrestling podcast listeners is that maybe if you are someone listening who attended that house show the other night at Little Caesars Arena, part of the holiday tour, maybe you could email the podcast 360 Wrestling Podcast at gmail.com and kind of pretty much give a live report of how the show was and what the crowd was like, what wrestlers were the crowd into, what matches were the crowd into, because like I said, I did read the results online, and I know the other crew was in Boston that night for another house show, so the one here in Detroit, and definitely no disrespect to anyone who was on that card Wednesday night, but I don't know if I would say that it was really the most star-studded card, but still what I read about the show, all the results and everything that happened on Wednesday night, it did sound like it was probably a pretty good show. Like I said, I will talk more about it on a future episode, hopefully tonight, of 360 Wrestling Fanatic. Sorry, just had to take a quick sip of coffee there. And I do know that Jimmy Uso I believe defeated LA Knight in a street fight in the main event. And I am pretty sure that I saw WWE's Return to Detroit will be taking place on, I want to say, April 21st for a SmackDown, I believe, which hopefully I would like to attend. So if anybody from WWE is listening to Good Morning Wrestling Fans right now, feel free to send tickets to Lance Brock from 360 Wrestling Podcast. Like I said, if anybody from WWE is listening to GMWF right now, which I'm sure there is nobody in WWE who knows who in the world I am. But that would be great, though, if they did actually send me, what are they called, complimentary tickets or something like that. Maybe seats for one of the suites or something in Little Caesars Arena. And no, I don't think that's actually going to happen. But that is it for this Friday morning episode of Good Morning Wrestling Fans. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in today. I appreciate everyone listening. And just one more time, if you did attend the WWE house show, the holiday tour, Wednesday night in Detroit at Little Caesars Arena, maybe you can send in a report, like I said, what the crowd was like, how the crowd reacted to each match, who was the most over wrestler of the night, things like that. The email is 360wrestlingpodcast@gmail.com. If you send something in, I will read the email or read the report on the podcast. And the other day, the last I checked on WrestleTix on X, is it said there were, I want to say, 992 available tickets left. And that was probably around, I'd say, 1 or 2 in the afternoon, I think. And there were, and I want to say it was probably set up for around 9,000 or something. So for a house show, I'd say that's probably not really a bad crowd. But for the last time they were at Little Caesars Arena, though, for SmackDown, they had a little over 12,000, I believe WrestleTix said. And that's a recommendation for Twitter or X, whatever it's called these days. WrestleTix. If you do not follow them, definitely check it out. Very I'm probably saying that wrong, but very informational website, if that's even a word. Informational, I don't know. But that's all for Good Morning Wrestling Fans. Once again, thank you everyone for tuning in. Hopefully, no promises though, but hopefully an episode of 360 Wrestling Fanatic tonight talking about Rampage, and maybe I'll get some emails about that house show to talk about. And hopefully we'll be back tomorrow as well to preview tomorrow night's AEW World's End pay-per-view. So, everybody stay tuned to 360 Wrestling Podcast. But until then, have a great pro wrestling day.